just to clarify and wrap up a couple more things, do you mind if we have one more comment?
No, not at all.
Okay, wonderful. My name is Michael Bates. I'm with Legal Aid of Northwest Texas. I was born out here. My dad was an Air Force pilot at Reese Air Force Base and came back for undergrad and law school. And on a personal level, I love and care about Lubbock, and on a professional level, the same. It's been an honor to work together with people from these communities. We have been working all throughout North and East Lubbock, but specifically several neighborhoods including Parkway Cherry Point, Yellow House Canyon, Dunbar Manhattan, and Chapman Hill all came together after hearing some of the things going on in CPAC as well as throughout the city. And the more that they heard, they were worried that some of the things going on in the city maybe didn't address some of their needs. And that was both on a past level and on a current level. And as they started to discover some of those issues and some of those problems, they wanted to know what they could do about it, whether that was coming to meetings or researching things. So they came to us and they wanted to make a comment. I don't know how the process worked from once we released the comment, but how many of y'all were able to read the comment from those 4 neighborhood associations? 1?
No.
2? Okay. 2?
Sure did. Yeah.
So
The report you gave us at one meeting.
What lead, are you talking about the lead? What are you talking about?
yes, so the neighborhood
The
association.
letter.
Yes, there was a public comment on June
What was the
20.
date on that letter?
It was June 26,
Okay.
2018.
Yeah, I read it.
I did too.
And I passed it along to Dan.
Wonderful. And we did address it to the CPAC committee members as well. We weren't sure if it was going to be distributed or not. We have carried about 6 copies with us tonight. But because y'all haven't been able to read that, we just wanted to give you a brief synopsis of some of the things on there. In your handout, we kind of gave a brief history of why people in East Lubbock and North Lubbock really care about this. Right on the front was the interim land use plan laid over with a racial dot map of where people are living. There was a pastor here, I'm not sure if he's still, but he said that things in the city aren't accidental, they come about purposefully and intentionally. So we went and researched the city of Lubbock and the land use plans that have been happening, and these are described in the comment, but the second page goes about showing the ordinance in Lubbock in the 1920s that segregated African Americans to the area that they were segregated to at the time, which is largely the Chapman Hill and Dunbar Heights area. If you flip over to the next page, was when the City Plan Commission put together in 1943 the zoning districts. The purple is outlined with manufacturing and industrial. If you look in those areas, that's mainly the Dunbar and Chapman Hill area surrounded by industry, as well as on the north side, also where a lot of Hispanic people lived, was industry. You flip open to the next page. This is the land use plan in 1959. The industry grew. As people were moving, the industry followed them. If you flip open to the next page is 1986. This was after desegregation, and many people started moving north to Parkway Cherry Point. But you can see even then, the industry followed them. And also, the highway was built around that time, and it's become a wall for the community. These things that are in the map currently are reflections of these past plans. While y'all did not decide these plans in the past, you have an opportunity to change them if you choose to. With that being, amen. With that being said, I know that your time is valuable, and we really appreciate you being here. We do have copies of our comment, but I'd just like to provide a short synopsis of the things that were requested by the neighborhoods. You all produced a healthy community guide, which you included in your plan. I think that's a wonderful thing to include. However, I'm not sure that the current zoning map follows those healthy communities. Many people who live by industry are dealing with COPD without even smoking, dealing with asthma, dealing with cancerous issues, also dealing with property values. As much as it might be a beautiful house by the lake, you live right next to industry. Your house is covered by soot and dust. You have a smog over your house every night. This is an opportunity to change some of those things. Come up with creative ways. I've seen committees throughout Lubbock come up with creative ways to fund things, to make things happen. We need to come up with creative ways to change industrial land use from past harms to not cause any more current harms. Secondly, there needs to be concrete and measurable goals. I know y'all were talking about that with year plans, 3-year plans, 5-year plans. But for sidewalks to be built, it's unacceptable that people can't walk down the street with a disability or travel around town, or can't get over the railroad tracks safely with their kiddos on MLK. These things can be planned and can be creatively answered. Finally, there is a need to extend efficient routes to South and West Lubbock and to extend routes past or at 10 p.m. as well as Sundays. While that would cost a substantial amount of money, there have been shown by the city that it does recover a certain amount of cost. There are many people who would like to use that system, and there are many things being funded by the city in creative ways that provide access, such as Route 88 or other roads being funded. I think that there can be similar things done. Finally, these neighborhood associations wanted to be a part of this as a part of the broad input from the city. We published this comment in June, and we have heard nothing. The neighborhood associations have heard no comment back from the city, back from any individual member, and we have requested that the plan be extended to us, and we understand that it's a process, but the city members don't know whether or not they can recommend you all vote for the plan tonight if we haven't seen it. There were multiple requests made, and we understand that it is a process, but it would be nice for those neighborhoods to at least understand in more detail how some of these changes may have been made or not made before they can recommend that you all vote for it. I understand that the city has a budget and that it's in a certain amount of time, but the last plan was not from 1986 until now, and now it's the next 22 years. I know that your time is valuable and the city's time is valuable, but this is worth a short delay, a short amount of time until these questions are answered or until we're able to come to some of these conclusions. Thank you.